Hey everybody, and welcome back to Lindsey's Little Library. So first of all, to all of my friends in the United States, happy Thanksgiving today. Thanksgiving is easily one of actually my favorite holiday. I don't know why. I mean, Christmas is Christmas, but I like the Christmas season. Like, Thanksgiving kind of kicks it all off. You've got so much good food. You just have, I don't know, I have family. It's fantastic. This year is a little different. We do plan on seeing my parents, but we've been seeing my parents this entire time. They help me with my kids on a regular basis. So keeping it just to us. Usually there's a lot of cousins and aunts and uncles involved, but not this year. But at least we're still seeing somebody and enjoying some good food and being thankful. So BookList Thursday is coming at you today with a bit of a Thanksgiving spin. So BookList Thursday is something I do with Sarah over at Sarah's Nightstand. We come to you every Thursday with some sort of book, thoughts, ideas, recommendations, something bookish related. So today we are going to host a Thanksgiving dinner for all of you guys because we are all super, super thankful to have you watch us each and every single week. So we're going to give you book recommendations based on a Thanksgiving dinner. So we have all the fixings, don't you worry. I think we have everybody covered. We're all good to go. So first of all, we're gonna start with some cocktails. I don't know about you, but my family, we like our cocktails. We tend to enjoy a good Bloody Mary in the morning, some sort of punch throughout the day, maybe some wine with dinner. We've got our cocktails covered. So for our cocktails course of our book recommendations, we're gonna give you a recommendation of a book that may give you a hangover because sometimes Black Friday isn't all that great depending upon how many cocktails I've had on Thanksgiving. So a book that gave me a hangover, and this hangover lasted a while. So this book was so good that I legit couldn't pick up another book after it. You guys will probably agree with me because it's nothing new. It is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. So this is an epic story of two sisters during World War II. They both live in France as the Nazis invaded. I think they're outside of Paris, honestly. One sister stays at her house. Her husband actually went away to fight in the war. She stays there to take care of her kids. A Nazi officer ends up coming and living in her house, basically, and there's that whole thing. And then the other sister decides, you know what, I'm not putting up with this, and goes and fights with their resistance. And it is just so beautiful, but gave me the biggest book hangover, I think, ever. So there's book number one. Next up, of course, every good Thanksgiving meal has to have some dinner rolls, some sort of bread, something full of carbs and deliciousness. So for us, bread is a must-have at our Thanksgiving. My mom makes the most amazing rolls. They're so, so, so good. So we're going to talk about a must-read. So the bread of our Thanksgiving dinner is Leaving Time by Jodi Picoult for me. This follows a girl as she's trying to deal with the death of her mother, who mysteriously disappeared. There's also another aspect of this book that talks about elephants because her mom worked at an elephant refuge, kind of. And she was a scientist who studied elephants. So you learn a lot about elephants in here, but it's very, very intriguing. And then this mother-daughter relationship that was there and her quest to figure out what happened with her mom. It's gorgeous. It is a must-read. Pick up this book. Next up, we're going to talk about some vegetables because vegetables have to make an appearance at Thanksgiving, whether it's green bean casserole or there's always a good salad. We always, of course, have a veggie tray at our house because my kids are little veggie fiends and they need to have their vegetables. Vegetables always make you feel good, so we thought we would pick up a book that is just a feel-good book. And my choice is Capital Gains by Chip Gaines. I know this is a story about him and kind of his personal story and his personal upbringing and kind of how he got to the place that he got it. But it's more than that. It's really like he has such a great reflective way of not only making you laugh, but motivating you at the same time. I did nothing but feel good after this. Talking about how, yes, he had obstacles in his life, but he continued to persevere and continued to move forward. Talked about how they ended the show Fixer Upper for a little bit. I know that they're back now. His relationship with Joanna. It is a fantastic feel-good book. You can't walk away from this book and not feel good about it. So pick it up. Next one, of course, we're gonna add some cranberries to our Thanksgiving meal because it's classic, right? Whether you do the cranberries in the can, the jellied ones, or my grandma makes the most amazing cranberry relish. It's so good, but cranberries make an appearance every time, every Thanksgiving. They're just a classic, and so we're gonna talk about a classic. Mine's this beefy one, but I want to talk about The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which I think is like the second book in here. This is the entire Narnia series, which I read. It took me like an entire summer to read this once. But this is all of them wrapped up in one. I don't even know how many are there? How many Chronicles of Narnia are there? There's 15 of them in here. Oh wait, no, that's just chapters for the first one, The Magician's Nephew. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 in here. So Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is the one that I'm talking about as being a classic. I remember having this, either we read it in school or it was read to us in school. I've read it a number of times. I think I've read it at least 3 times. Watched the movie, whatever. It's just a classic. Every kid should really read it. I've really enjoyed this all of the Chronicles of Narnia. It's a beefy book, but worth it. All right, the next one we're going to talk about is some sort of casserole. I said green bean casserole already, but a number of casseroles tends to make their way onto the Thanksgiving table. And you know, a classic casserole just has a little bit of everything in it. There's multiple ingredients all kind of thrown together and delicious, right? So our recommendation is a book that covers more than one genre. So for this one, I'm going to suggest Where the Lost Wander by Amy Harmon. So you would normally take a look at this and think, okay, true historic fiction. But there's so much more to it. Yes, it's a historic fiction, but we also have a little bit of a romance or love story in here. We also have a bit of a family drama going on in here. It really does cover more than just a historical fiction type of a genre. So this has got a few genres wrapped up in one. So if you haven't read historical fiction, but you like a good love story, pick this up. If you haven't read, you know, a historical fiction, but you like a good family drama, pick this up, because you're going to get a little bit of both of those in here and maybe open your eyes to another genre you might like. Just a thought, but pick this one up. Oh, what's it about? That would probably be helpful. So this is about the May family as they set off on basically the Overland Trail, the Oregon Trail, moving out west. I think they're going to, are they going to California or Oregon? One of those two. I read 2 books that were similar at the same time. But they go out and start their wagon train to the west. This other person, John Lowry, he's half Indian. He ends up joining on, more or less to escort them to a certain fort. He's going to sell some horses and mules at that fort, and then he was going to go back, but he gets involved with his family and things go from there. But it's a fabulous book. 5 stars. Pick it up. All right, next thing on our Thanksgiving table is some stuffing. We need some good stuffing, right? Stuffing to me is something that just fills me up, right? So our recommendation is a book that fills you up. Now, when I was thinking about this, I kept gravitating to books like memoirs or nonfiction, something that fills me up from a like knowledge perspective. And lately the book that's been filling me up is True or False. It's a CIA analyst's guide to spotting fake news by Cindy Otis. I'm about a third of the way into this, and it is fascinating, the knowledge and the insight into how news has been spreading since kind of the beginning, basically. It fills me with knowledge, and so I just kept gravitating to books that fill me with knowledge, but I tend to be a collector of knowledge, so that makes sense. So totally fills me up. I highly recommend it. I thought it might be a little dry. Oh my gosh, it's so entertaining. It's such a good book. It's such a good book. I'm not done with it, but I'm already loving it. All right, and of course the next thing everybody needs, well, should have, I don't know, traditionally have at their Thanksgiving meal is some turkey. We, I think, are having ham this year, a honey baked ham, which makes me think of skipping Christmas, but we'll talk about that later. But anyways, your meat, whatever your main course might be, is a book with some meat to it that has something to sink your teeth into, something that makes you think. And that one, I'm gonna say another Kristen Hanna book, but The Great Alone. This one takes place in the 70s. This is about a family who ends up moving to Alaska. The father, what's his name, Vern, I think. Nope, Ernst. sorry. He fought in the Vietnam War and came back with some pretty bad PTSD. Of course, they didn't know that that's what it was at the time. They end up moving to Alaska to kind of escape his demons. And we all know that doesn't happen. So the summer in Alaska was fantastic, and then the winter hits and it's got some meat to it. I'm just saying. Fantastic book. And then every good Thanksgiving meal has some good dessert. We've got pumpkin bars. My mom's got an apple and cherry pie I think she's making. Some good fluff. I know my aunt will usually make. I guess I'll have to make that because she's not going to be there. Anyways, good dessert at a good Thanksgiving meal. So we're going to talk about our guilty pleasures. And I'm going to keep going to Tessa Dare's series. The first one is the Duchess deal. It is this super fun, totally romance, totally cheesy series about these 4 women. I think they all end up marrying dukes, or they're some piece of royalty. It is historical setting, but there's snarkiness, there's romance. It's just a true guilty pleasure for me. It has been this whole year since I've been reading them, and now I gotta wait till February for the 4th book to come out. But it follows these 4 friends and kind of each one of theirs relationship that happens, and it's just, again, guilty pleasure, totally guilty pleasure, and I love it. I need a guilty pleasure book every so often. So there's our Thanksgiving dinner. I would love to know what you would have at your Thanksgiving bookish dinner. Otherwise, head over to Sarah's channel over at Sarah's Nightstand and see what she has on her table for Thanksgiving dinner today. Well, her book stand, her bookshelf, whatever we want to call it. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, and have a fantastic Thanksgiving. Bye. This is epic. This is an epic story of 2 sisters who... Aren't you supposed to be in class?
What?
Nothing.
Okay. Don't start 1 second. Are you filming?
Yeah.
Alright.
Are you done?